Greetings and welcome aboard to the Heavy Metal Truckers. Welcome aboard to Heavy Metal Truckers. Because that's what I used to say. Where we give our thoughts and perspectives on all things heavy, even if you don't like it. We are your hosts. Unfortunately, Frosty cannot be here currently, but we are going to try and film his part separately and then interlace it in later. But in today's video, we are giving our album review on the latest album from Chaoseum, which is called
Life for Sale, I think.
Yes. I kept on forgetting it because it's a bit of an odd title name, or
It is.
yeah. So, as per usual, take it away.
So, when did I discover Chaoseum? Well, I discovered him probably when most people did. When Smile Again came out. Which, obviously caught everybody's attention because it sounds just like Korn. Like, that song would have fit perfectly on the Queen of the Dam soundtrack. But,
Really would have.
yeah. Now, I did read that apparently, obviously Korn is one of their biggest influences, but because of that, they actually purposely wrote that song as an homage to Korn. That's why it sounds identical to them.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But good on you guys for actually, paying proper homage to your influencers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the artist that kind of started you.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of wonder what Jonathan thinks about it.
Yeah. Good question. So that's when I discovered them, whenever that was, which was, I don't know, about 2020, somewhere around there.
That was rough. Like I said, I remember you showing them to me whenever we were in our previous employer.
Yeah. So, going into this album, obviously I knew it was going to be new metal. That's what these guys are. And, what are you two doing?
You don't know.
It's two of the cats, or I don't know what the hell they're doing.
I figured.
But, so in some aspects, I was excited here because being a new metal fan, growing up with the Korns, the Seven Dust, the POD, even
the occasional Linkin Park,
Soulfly, Linkin Park,
before
so on and so forth.
Hold up. Before, let me correct everyone. We're talking about Linkin Park before Minutes to Midnight, before that era.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, when they were first starting. And it were even like the first 3 albums, whatever. But so I was excited about it because new metal, it kind of, it had its huge heyday, late 90s, early 2000s, and then it kind of went away. Not completely went away, but it
went under the radar, and it kind of just went back into it went from underground to mainstream and then back to underground.
Yeah. And it seems like it might be starting to make a little bit of a comeback. God, I hope it is.
You and I both, because if anything could come back, as much as the 80s greatly influenced everything, it's had its heyday. Guys, let's move on and bring the 90s back.
Yeah. Oh, God, that'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been some signs that it is trying to come back. So I'm rooting for it to continue.
Well, shit, even if, not to break away, but even if you consider the latest single from Lamb of God, holy shit, did they go back to their roots.
It did. I think that was one of the things I said. It had a strong 90s feel. We listened to it because it does.
Yeah.
I think that even spurred a little discussion about how there's been more 90s songs coming on, or sounding song.
Yeah, I was about to say more raw and natural, but anyways, continue on.
So I was excited to listen to this album. I think we had listened to one song off of it, The Failure, which, strangely enough, I enjoyed that song way more listening to it into the album than I did when we listened. Yeah, like because I remember when we listened to it solo, we were like, it was decent, but it didn't really, it didn't blow us away.
Yeah.
Whereas in the album here, I really enjoyed it within the album. Like, it was probably one of my top 2 favorite songs on the whole album, or ended up being that way because of how it worked within the album. It was interesting, I felt like the first 3 or 4 songs were really, your quintessential, what you would expect nu metal style songs, and then you kind of went into ones, especially, what was it called? It kind of threw me for a loop for a minute because it was like, wait, this is different. Which song was it? I don't have the track listing at all.
I've got it up.
It was Ain't something.
Ain't Human.
Yeah, that was a very interesting song. But I don't know if you remember it. Terrible. Oh my God.
So before I obviously get into my part, I will admit, like, I didn't have much time to listen to this because Doppler was the one that reminded me that we were supposed to cover this. Like, it wasn't in my calendar, unfortunately, and I missed it. So in the middle of work, while everything is this day that I was able to listen to it while doing my work, which we can do, just as long as we get shit done. There was so much going on that, like, I couldn't entirely focus, and so I had to then go and listen to it in my car. And currently my car's speakers were stock. Long story behind that. And so it was just not the ideal setup for analyzing something. So I've had a rough time trying to listen to this, but I did listen to it and listen to it fully. So just to give that disclaimer.
It was a very interesting song, but in a good way. I think it was another song that I really enjoyed. I need to bring Travis up so I can find. Or nope. Or if I remember, Life for Sale was title track was also
The first track,
which is interesting to me because a lot of bands don't really put their title track first.
Well, it's like one of 3 places. It tends to be the first track, the second track, or like maybe 5th or 6th.
Yeah, a lot of times I see them in the middle, and once in a blue moon you'll see it at the end. But,
yeah, like Demon Hunter. Shit, I need to add that to the list today because
I have it on my list.
Okay. Well, I mean, for today, let me. Okay. Oh, I did not do this correctly. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
I don't remember when I. Oh, next week. I have it for next week. All right.
Oh, you have Demon Hunter for next week?
Yeah, the album for next week.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They had. I remember the first 3 songs. Like I said, they were your classic nu metal. What I was kind of expecting going into the album.
Correct.
Then there was a couple songs. They were decent, but they weren't overly memorable. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was kind of true for 4 through 7, honestly. And a 7 was the one that had the featuring whoever that person is, which I don't know who they are. If somebody knows, you're welcome to let us know. You know who it is?
So there was a featured artist in here?
Yeah, on track 7, that time that we burned.
That makes a lot of sense now.
That song, like, basically 2 through 7, all those songs were just okay. Like, they weren't bad. Like, I don't think there was necessarily a song on here I remember listening to it going like, this is not a good song.
You'll forgive me. What is the track? What's track 7?
With the featuring, that time that we burned. The time that we burned.
Okay, appreciate it. Continue.
Then you had the Ain't Human, which was a very interesting song, but I enjoyed it. Like, it was kind of, it wasn't all over the place, but it definitely did some interesting things as it went through it, that I really enjoyed. For You was alright. It kind of fit in with like 4 through 7, where they were, you know, it was an alright song, but again, it did really do a whole lot for me. And then you get to the last song. And when it first popped up and saw it, I said, wait, what? It's the orchestral version of Smile Again.
Okay.
And I was like, huh. I sat there and listened to it, and I actually really enjoyed it. It has a completely different feel from the original. Because, you know, the original is like straight up Korn, whereas this one, it was more raw, it was more emotional.
Well, fuck.
It was really pretty, I thought.
I'm not sure if they included that in the video, in the album video that I watched or listened to.
Mine was on there. Yeah, it was the one I listened to was there.
Let me look. What the fuck?
It was an unexpected surprise. Like, I figured, you know, it was gonna be all these, and then all of a sudden, orchestral version of Smile Again. It's basically just orchestral, like you said, and him singing, doing the vocals. Like, it was honestly one of the 3 biggest highlights of the album for me, along with The Failure and Ain't Human.
Okay, I have no idea. Didn't have the track.
How many tracks did yours have?
The great question. I have no idea. Because it was just one. It was just one long thing, and they didn't have like the timestamps listed, and there's no comments saying the timestamps, so I have no idea.
Oh, lovely.
But it's 44 minutes long. The one that I listened to. Don't know if that helps.
Not really.
Okay, well, fine. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't know how long it is.
Actually, I can find it.
Well, 10.
Maybe it was on that album. All right. Anyways,
I don't know how you would have missed it, but
well,
no.
there were times where I was preoccupied.
Yeah. But like first thing, well, not first thing. I've already said a bunch of things, but one thing I will say is I appreciate these guys greatly for keeping nu metal alive, for helping keep it alive. You know, they stay pretty true to the genre, which I appreciate. They have that old school sound to them, you know, that we grew up with. Now, are they on the same level as like a Korn or a Seven Dust or anything like that? No. At least not for me anyway. But I still enjoyed them. I still enjoyed the album. It wasn't a great album by any means, but it definitely was not a bad album. I debated hard on the score for this album. I kept going back and forth between 2. Because I'm like, because I feel like, depending on which score I give it, the perception of how I felt the album would change drastically based on which one I give.
Yeah, because we also, for those that are wondering how we assess an album, we tend to look at it from an unbiased perspective of how is the mixing done, how is the composition done, lyrics, if we can understand them, whatever the case may be, track listing even. And then we try and put like personal opinion as a last moniker. to give the score. So these 5 factors can make scoring quite difficult sometimes.
Yeah, and we try not to let our bias affect scores, but I mean, we'd be
It's
lying
going
if it
to.
doesn't have some effect. Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I think
for
it'd be
sure.
disingenuous not to do so.
Yeah, yeah. In a lot of ways, I agree with you there.
Just because, like the people that watch us know, we are 3 dudes with 3 different specializations or interests, and the audience can definitely tell, like, well, this person's in that person's in that. Well, based on their score of what they perceived as the album, this could be fantastic if it impressed this person, or it could be a failure if this person voted it this way.
Like for me, this was a decent to solid new metal record. Not great. It wasn't great. Like I said, there are much better ones out there.
Better ones, yeah.
But by no means was this bad. There are definitely far worse ones out there.
Oh dear God,
So, for me, I've been sitting here and I've been debating between a 6.75 and a 7, which is why I say, depending on which one I give, it could change because
6.759. Gotcha.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I mean that's where I've been hanging around because it teeters there for me. Like it's right. It's on that precipice from being a good album to an okay album. Like it's right on that line.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been debating. So, like, if you're fans of new metal, I would say give it a listen, just because there aren't a ton of new metal bands out there today that are mainstream enough to be throwing out these albums. Because it's still solid, but it's definitely not up there with like Korn's Follow the Leader or
Life is Peachy.
Life is Peachy or Seven Dust Animosity or any of the. It's not
just some of the gold standard greats out there.
Right? Yeah, it's not there, but it's still a decent record, and I will almost certainly continue to follow these guys because they're new metal. I love new metal. They have a good sound. The dude got good vocals. I mean, he sounds like crap. Even in these, he still sounds like crap load like Jonathan Davis. Not as much as say is in like Smile Again, but it's still there. Like you can still hear it. So I'll definitely continue to follow them and see what they continue to put out in the future.
Yeah,
they're definitely talented.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay, so I've blabbered on about nothing long enough.
You're good. So I discovered Chaoseum pretty much roughly the same time that I guess you did. I mean, because you were the one that showed them to me, and you showed me Smile Again, and I was like, God damn, because like at first I thought it was like Jonathan Davis at first, or he was a featured vocalist in it, but nope, that's the dude. So
no, that's him.
Yeah, so like I was fascinated by them. I don't really remember if they had a full album at that point or not, and if they did, like I may have checked it out. I think
they had. I don't know how many. I know they had put out. I want to say 2 or 3 by that time.
Okay, so
because they had the one with the original female vocalist, and then
right. So at this point, it's been like
or 2 with him.
Yeah, it's been like 5 years, honestly, since I've heard them. So
yeah.
It's difficult for me to say. But what I will say is that I'm not gonna lie, like it, and it could have been like some of the factors that I mentioned earlier that I struggled with this album. I'd be lying if I said I didn't, because I couldn't completely focus on it whenever I first listened to it, and then whenever I was able to focus on it, like I was not in an optimal setting for my usual setup. So could I have gotten a wrong impression? Absolutely. But I had 2 different mediums that I was listening to this on, and it still kind of held the same foundation for me. there was potentially only one track or two where his Korn-esque vocal influence came through for me. The rest of it was another modern metal group, if truth be told. Like, it had its moments being new metal, but it was honestly way more metalcore than I expected. Like, way more. And his vocals, they were very melodic, and they definitely fit into modern perspective, which, if anyone knows me, I don't typically care for. Considering I didn't have a good way of keeping track of stuff, I have no idea what track I listened to at the point. I was just listening and seeing what I heard. But almost all of it sounded the same to me. The only differences there would be is they had some of the synth influence going on that kind of broke up some of the monotony within it, or at least that I felt. And aside from that, like, they had some occasional like new metal aspects, and then they had like the dude screaming he did good he was talented in doing good for that, but it's also just stuff that I've heard before. Unfortunately, it wasn't that unique of a voice in the unclean vocals. Clean vocals, fairly unique, but still just like, he's good at them, but I just didn't care for it at all. And I don't remember hearing the orchestral version of Smile Again, but then again, like I said, I was preoccupied because, of course, the one time that I had the chance to listen to this and still do my work, it was one of the most chaotic days that we have had. But then again, it was peak season for us, so it was just an absolute shit show that day that I tried to listen to this. So that likely greatly affected stuff. And then the only other time I could listen to it was on the way home. So I can only listen to maybe a third of the album at best. So it's just like the chance that I could listen to this, it was bad timing. Whenever Frosty gets in on this, I'm gonna try and listen to it again and bear it some more, because honestly, like I said, I struggle to listen to this. I hate to say
I'm actually curious to see what his opinion is, because I didn't bring up the metalcore aspects, but it's definitely there.
It is solely in there, and I will tell you this.
But and I've said so many times on this channel, I don't care for metalcore because it all fucking sounds the same.
And it gets me too.
It gets boring real quick.
Like the closest
thing.
And
I think. Mm-hmm. I'll finish real quick. Then I'll let you take over. Yeah. I think the reason I didn't bring it up, and then the reason why it didn't really bother me that much in this album, or at least not as much as it normally would, is the new metal elements that were in there that broke it up.
Yeah. I mean, this wasn't
to where
metalcore album. It had its new metal.
Oh no, not even
influence.
Yeah, and because of that, now I do think that that could be part of the reason why I didn't give it a higher score, and it could be why I said like 4 through 7 and 9 weren't memorable for me, because there were songs in there where they were a little bit similar, and you got into that little bit of a thing there. But yeah, I think the reason why overall it didn't really bother me like most metalcore is because the new metal was in there and it broke it up. But yes, you are right about that. But that's why I'm curious to see what Frosty will say, because he's more open to metalcore than we are.
So he was with me this weekend because I had him help me out with some yard work, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, so he was over here, and we did listen to it on the way coming back to my place. And we listened to it kind of going back, I think. No, it was mainly just on the way over here, and I think to do some stuff, but I don't remember. He did say one sentence of insight. I'm not going to say what it was, but it was something I expected him to say, or I was waiting to see what he would say, and he did say it. So I know some of his insight into the album. Like I said, I'm just going to wait for him to give his perspective, but Yeah, it's kind of to be expected. Alrighty, so we have Frosty here with us, and we are getting his perspective on the Chaoseum album, Life for Sale. So, sir, your experience in learning about Chaoseum and what you perceive the album as.
Okay, so yes, I promise I am here. You can barely see me. I don't have the best of lighting.
It's better than you think.
Secondly, true. Secondly, my introduction to Chaosium was this album, actually, which most of you are going to find is essentially how I get introduced to things, is when we get forced to listen to these albums.
Forced.
You know, I really don't mind getting introduced to a lot of these, you know, bands and artists and all that, just because I'm trying to like widen my perspective, or widen my, I don't know, perspective, I guess. I don't know. Broaden my horizon. There we go. We'll use that one. Trying to broaden my horizon with music, especially seeing as I'm getting like bored listening to the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's good stuff, but it is what it is. So yeah, I was introduced to Chaosium through this album, and I guess we shall get started on the album. The album itself. To me, it kind of felt more like a metalcore album than it did like straight, you know, like, I don't know, like death metal or doom metal or black metal, symphonic metal, stuff like that. I mean, it kind of just felt more straight metalcore.
The closest thing that whenever they first came out with, I believe it was Smile Again, they did play that as homage to Korn, because that's kind of, from our understanding, that's kind of there was the biggest influences, and so they began to kind of give us a modern taste of what like modern new metal is. So that's kind of the direction where they're going. But
okay,
yeah. Well,
okay, yeah, no, and I can definitely
direction and perception,
yeah, because I mean,
two different things here.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I can see that they're trying to not be just straight metalcore, but you still have that through this album.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really enjoyed the album. I mean, it was a lot of fun to listen to. The fact that they put Smile Again as an orchestral version of it was extremely fun for me, because I'm an old band geek, and I really enjoy orchestral sounds and, you know, symphonic sounds and all that because of my history in band. However, or along with that, that version was just absolutely insane. I really enjoyed the way that they did that song on the album. Let's see what else. I mean, yeah, no, I really don't have anything negative against them at all. I mean, it's my style of music, basically. I really enjoyed it. I would love to hear more from them.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm trying to remember. I think there might. No. I definitely enjoyed Smile Again, the orchestral version, the most.
So whenever I did this, and it was Doppler and I together, we whenever he had mentioned the orchestral version of Smile Again, which I saw, I'm like, either I was so busy whenever I was listening to this album that I didn't catch it, or Somehow I don't recall it, so I'll have to go back at some point
Oh
and
wow.
listen to that track because I don't remember it. But the issue for me with this album was that it was more along the lines of, as you said, the metalcore style than I was preferable to or that I expected.
And
That being said,
yeah, and that's what I assumed would probably come out from you.
yeah. Now that being said, the Doppler and I both discussed that there are definitely some new metal aspects to this album, and it seems like they kind
Yeah.
of, I can't tell if they made it more of a new metal foundation or metalcore foundation, but they were able to blend the two because they also were able to incorporate some, I'm going to call it industrial style within this album, mainly due to the synths and some of
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah.
some of the more electronic aspects that can be found within industrial.
Right.
But yeah, I will say that for people that know me, yeah, no, this album definitely was not for me. Not that it's bad by any means. It's just not my go-to or not what I typically would go for. But that being said, what would you rate this?
Well, seeing as this is one of those albums, one of the albums that I had to listen to, that well, one of the ones that I had to listen to, it was one of the ones that I really enjoyed out of all the albums that was my homework. I'd probably put this at about 8.5, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, you guys know it's in the intros. Metalcore is kind of like my go-to, so
Well, this is
I definitely enjoyed this.
one of the more ones you specialize in, if we're gonna call it.
Yeah.
What we do is specializing. It's. I'm not even sure that we would say. I don't know if I need to change it, but it's like we have more focus within these particular genres. But
Focused, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
that being said, of course, I think honestly I gave this album a 6.5, mainly because what they were doing was still, it wasn't bad. It was still, and it wasn't necessarily average. For me, it was still a little bit above average in like comparison to what we've heard over the past several years when it comes to either new metal or metalcore. So I will definitely give them that. But for me, it's also been, it was a lot more, not necessarily, it was slightly better than the generic of what I've heard, but it still had some general aspects that I've heard so many times that it didn't necessarily stand out to me. But it was still just well done to where I couldn't knock it, as you put it. I think I gave this album a 6.5. I don't recall, but it was riding between like 6.5 and 7 for me. Just because like what was done well. I can't lie or argue and say that it wasn't. The guy, the instruments were very well done. The vocals were fantastic, even though I was not a fan of the cleans, because that was.
I enjoyed the cleans.
Well, I say that because they still wrote along that slight more metalcore aspect to where I could have easily been hearing like Motionless in White, which I do not like them. But then again,
I think that's probably why I enjoyed the cleans too, because I was picking up moments of Motionless, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see the, not necessarily repetition, the similarities between them. And I do listen to some Motionless, so.
And yes, there was some moments where he did have his new metal aspect to where the vocalist would sound very, very similar to Jonathan Davis, but it was very sparse. So, like, having that kind of oddity in vocals or uniqueness in vocals is what I admired at some aspects of new metal and industrial metal that I was kind of hoping more so would be present within this album, but it didn't show itself. So the vocalist more likely paid homage to what influenced him and then began to do his own thing, which I highly respect. It's just not
same here.
So I think I might have given this album a 6.5, but I honestly could push it to a 7 because it was that well done. I personally can't give it any higher just because of course my personal bias is going to go into this. As much as we may try and just ignore personal bias, it will play a factor in our ratings for us and for this. And I've told Doppler this before. I think that is extremely important whenever we're doing this, because at least the audience can get the perspective of, okay, he has the focus in this. This was his rating on it, so this was his perspective on it. So if this person,
correct, because
if this wasn't his
well, I mean, and
he gave this album that particular rating, then this is what it could mean for me. So I went along with that, and I think that's why the personal bias should play a factor in the ratings. And like, of course, we give it the foundation of what does the mix sound like and what does the production sound like, because that can make a break an album, obviously. But the personal bias is going to give it. It's why we do this.
Absolutely. I mean, this is why this is why we state these are reviews. These are not reactions. This is our own personal opinions. Mm-hmm. This is what we ourselves of said album, said single, whatever it is. And I mean, we're not going to just sit here and go, oh, we hate this band. We're not even going to give it a second thought. We're going to give it a 0. No, I mean, we understand that there's more to the band than just, our own personal bias. There's more to the songs than our own personal bias. But at the same time, we do have a bias to it, so that'll reflect within our within whatever we say about them or say about the song. Versus like what we say about the album itself and everything like that. So yeah, I definitely would concur with the bias on that.
Alrighty, so you've given your rating, and you guys have seen what Doppler and I gave it. So we're gonna go ahead and end this on that note, and we'll switch over to our ending. My score right now, which this could change, but as it stands, my rating is like a 5.5. Like, it was reasonable for what it was, but it was better than a little bit better than okay, but it was nothing special to me at all. But this is definitely for those that do enjoy some of the more modern metalcore, that maybe want some heavier aspects, or maybe even some slight industrial accenting, because there was some of that, especially with the synth, and some of the soundscapes gave it almost an industrial feel at times. So for those of you that are into that, you might greatly enjoy this. But until Frosty gets here and I speak with him, then my rating may change once I get my setup better to where I can actually analyze things. But yeah, that was my perspective on the album. Sorry to be a bummer on that, but that's what it was. But yeah, guys, we thank you for being here. We're glad you could come and join. Hopefully you were able to watch all of it, which not many people do, but that's okay. But if you haven't made it to the end, thank you. And if you have any opposition, fight us in the comments and tell us how amazing metalcore actually is, and we're complete nimrods. Go for it. But until next time, guys, whether musically, lyrically, or literally, keep rolling heavy.